The Dallas Mavericks look for their sixth straight win as they visit our nation's capital to take on the Washington Wizards. We get you ready for tonight's game coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider Mark Stein at the Stein line. Your Dallas Mavericks looking to continue the hottest winning streak in the Western Conference as they visit our nation's capital to take on the Washington Wizards, as the Mavericks look to extend Washington's losing streak to 16 games. We'll get you ready for the game over the next half hour here on DLLS Mavs. Really appreciate you joining us. However, and wherever you may be watching us, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports. Let's get into it, gentlemen. The Dallas Mavericks on a 5-game winning streak, looking to make it 6 tonight as they take on a Washington Wizards team that's lost 15 consecutive games. In fact, they haven't won a game since October the 30th. If you're a team not named Atlanta, you have beat down the Washington Wizards for a month plus now, as Washington is at 2-17, 1-8 at home. Your Dallas Mavericks, so 14-8 on the season, a season high 6 games above 500, 6-5 away from the American Airlines Center. Mavericks 14.5-point favorite tonight against the bewildered Washington Wizards, Tim Cato.
I think I would be more excited, and it might be a more competitive game if Dallas just ran A and B squads, shirts and skins. And yeah, we'll see who comes out ahead. And then I just don't have to watch this very, very sad Washington Wizards team.
Very muted Tim Cato on the pregame show.
If Dallas loses, it should count. They should be relegated. Every win that they have so far should be under investigation for fraud, and the team itself should start their All-Star break now.
I kind of like what Dennis is doing in the chat already. Should be the Washington Lizards so they can keep taking L's.
Oh wow,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good, Dennis. I like what you're doing.
I mean,
there.
there's no other way to say it. Like the Wizards, they stink. They're dead last in offense. They're dead last in defense. They've lost 15 straight games. Only one of those losses was even by single digits. They make losing by 20 look very easy, and they are doing the thing for multiple seasons that the Mavs got fined $100,000 for doing for 2 games a couple years ago. So their priorities are a little different than Dallas's.
They're trying to play capture the flag, and they're doing it really well right now.
Yes, and they're lapping the field, and Kyle Kuzma's out. Corey Kispert is out. Some of their only NBA caliber players are out. So this is essentially a glorified G League team you're playing tonight. And I'm not trying to just dunk on the Wizards or anything. Like, they're just not good.
They get dunked on plenty enough.
Yeah, the Mavs are playing great. And so the Mavs need to go win. They need to go win. And during my scouting report segment, I'll tell you why they need to win. But yeah, I mean, the Wizards are not good. This should not be a competitive game.
Mavericks have won 9 of their last 10 games and 5-1 on the road in their last 6 road games. The Mavericks all of a sudden turning into road warriors. Look to continue that tonight. The Mavericks, of course, play tonight in Washington, D.C. before they head to Toronto to take on the Raptors on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Hawks, who went 0-14 as far as the win-loss column in the month of November. Hard to believe this team actually started 2-2 on the season. Their only 2 wins against the Atlanta Hawks this year. They lost on Tuesday.
That's pretty easy to believe, though.
I mean, seeing what we've seen from since then, yeah, it is pretty easy to believe at this point. But they lost to Cleveland 118-87 for their 15th straight loss. By the way, the Wizards play 5 of their next 6 games at home beginning tonight. guess what they have coming up on their schedule? They got Dallas tonight. They got home games against the Nuggets, Grizzlies, and Celtics and Hornets. And by the way, their lone road game in that 5 or 6 span is against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this losing streak may not end anytime soon, given the teams that they're going to be playing here over the next several games.
It's like that kind of reverse curse thing, though, of like, the Pistons last year lost 28 straight games or 25 or whatever it was. And the last few games before they finally won, we're starting to get a little competitive. And it's like, as the other team, you don't want to be the team that they beat, So
they're not fielding enough of a team for that to even be potentially remotely possible tonight.
I mean, it's that's not true. Portland almost beat the Mavs the other night shooting, because they shot a zillion %. And like, if there's 8 minutes left in the game and you're only up 7, you might start feeling like you're tied or something, because like you don't want to be that team. So just be professional about it.
Yeah, be professional, and as our title card says, don't F around tonight. Don't play with your food, and be able to beat down the Washington Wizards, which gets us to our scouting report from our very own Bobby Carella when it comes to the Maverick starters and their minutes.
So here's the deal. The Wizards' most used lineup this season includes one guy that's not even playing tonight. That lineup is minus 31. Net rating, not plus minus.
Oh my God.
They get outscored by 31 points per 100 possessions. Their only lineup that's on their
a jump scare.
Yeah, they have 2 lineups on their NBA.com page that has 25 lineups per page. That has a positive net rating, and one of those is the lineup they play in garbage time whenever they're already down 25. This team is awful. Now, I'm going to read you some numbers. These are PJ Washington's minutes played over the last couple weeks. 38, 37, 35, 36, 39, 40, 36. Luka Dončić, 40, 36, 30 and 28, not bad. 38, 41, 41, 42, 32, 42. Kyrie Irving, 35, 36, 35, 41, 39, 38, 27, 36. These guys are playing way too many minutes. And the Mavs are at a portion of the schedule where tonight they play the Wizards, and a couple days they play the Raptors, and then on Tuesday they go to OKC. And it's unclear when they'll play again after that, depending on what happens in that game. They're going to get like a week or so where they only play one game in that span. So the schedule's about to lighten up, but this is kind of like getting a Monday off during the school year where it's like sort of a short week and the rest of the week becomes a lot easier. If you take care of business tonight, it's a way to play and get a game check and get a win and pad your stats, but also you don't have to try too hard. You don't have to play 38 minutes. These guys are playing too much. It's not great. It would be super sweet if they only had to play like 25 minutes tonight. If midway through the third quarter, we're popping champagne and having a good time.
But not Justin Champagne, who's on their team.
They have
a champagne.
They have one of them.
They have one of the Champagnes.
Oh
apparently.
my God! Can I undo my guard that guy?
He's played 1 minute.
My God!
But
it was awesome.
To your point, it's not just that Washington is a bad team when healthy. Washington is missing Kaishan George and Corey Kispert, who have far and away their best plus minuses when they're on the court. And some of that is obviously plus minus stuff is also contextual. But Corey Kispert is an NBA player. He's a floor player. He raises your floor. He's out tonight. Kaishan George has been pretty good for them. He's out tonight. And so it's not just that this is like I said, it's a bad team when healthy. But even the good players that they have who have had success on the court, who have helped the Wizards have success on the court this season, aren't going to be out there tonight. So I don't know. There's no excuses. Please.
Yeah, Alex Sarr, the starting center, whenever he's on the floor this year, their net rating is minus 22. And he's the starting big. He plays 30 minutes a game. So
right.
Yeah,
they're 10 points worse than what they play on the season, when he's out there.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
In other words, the Mavericks need to beat the brakes off the Wizards tonight.
Yes.
It's just that simple. Beat the brakes off of them and don't get hurt while doing it.
It's almost like a buzzkill to say that, because then, what if they only win by 17? Well, did they beat them by enough? But,
they covered.
You'll know when you know. There's no way to define it. It's just I can tell when I see it. There's a Supreme Court ruling about something similar to this.
You'll know by the minutes totals.
Yeah.
I think that to me matters way more than the score, because if all the players are if all the starters are playing 25 minutes or less, that is a sign that it was. I don't care if it was a 70-point win at the end.
I want to see a
19-point
lot
win.
of Jay-Z and Gortman tonight.
Yeah.
I want to see so much Omax. Like, I want to see
Right.
Markieff Morris go for 12 and 4. You know
Right.
He's not playing. Jay-Z Gorman's out tonight.
what the?
I was trying to decide if I was going to say it or not.
What's even
but
the
you,
point?
You seem so excited about
What
it.
am I
was like,
doing here?
Yeah, he's not playing tonight.
Where is he playing somewhere else?
I mean,
To the G League?
Did they loan him to the Wizards?
no, he wouldn't help them tonight either. By the way, the Mavericks looking for their sixth consecutive win and also their sixth road win in the last 7 road tries as well. As Bobby mentioned, the Wizards statistically one of the worst in a lot of categories. 3rd worst in the NBA points per game, 6th worst in field goal percentage, 2nd worst in 3-point percentage as well, and the 7th worst rebounding team. By the way, they're dead last in offensive rating and second to worst as far as defensive rating. Overall, that makes them the worst in the NBA in overall net rating at a -15 on the season, just to give you an indication there. Jordan Poole is the guy that's going to lead them offensively, averaging 20.5 points per game, shooting 44% from the field, nearly 42% from the three-point line. Also leads the team in steals and assists per game. Jonas Valanciunas, the man in the middle, along with Alex Sarr, averaging 12.1 points per game and 7.7 rebounds per game so far this year. Alex Sarr, the rookie for Washington, averaging nearly 2 blocks per game so far this season. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks offensively have been fantastic over their last 10 games. Number 4 in the NBA in offensive rating, number 8 in the NBA as far as defensive rating is concerned as well, which gets them to be a +10, which is number 2 right now over the last 10 games in overall net rating. The numbers have been fantastic, especially for the return of Luka Dončić, who, of course, in his last 2 games, 36 in the game against the Blazers, 37 against the Memphis Grizzlies in that epic 15-point comeback to be able to clinch a spot in the NBA Cup. Luka Dončić getting his legs under him quite nicely for Dallas. Meanwhile, for the Mavericks, they are playing their first of 2 games against Washington this season. They'll play Washington again on January 27th at the American Airlines Center. The Mavericks swept the season series against Washington last year, going 2-0. The last time these two teams played was back on February the 12th at the American Airlines Center, where they won 112-104. Luka Dončić and Kyrie Irving each had 26 points in that game. They, of course, are in the starting lineup for your Mavericks alongside PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, and Derek Lively II. The other big man for the Dallas Mavericks had a really nice game against his former team. I'm talking about former Arkansas product and former Washington Wizard, Daniel Gafford. Last year in that game, my man went for 16 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 blocks and 2 steals in that game against the Wizards. So Daniel Gafford will look to try to have a big night against his former team as well in our nation's capital.
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of opponent that we usually see Daniel Gafford just be overwhelming for. He's gonna.
Wait, is that Canada? Halifax? Is that Canada? The Ghostface Driller? Shout out to you, man.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Let's
Is that where
go.
Halifax is?
Yeah.
It's in Canada.
Yeah,
It's
Canada,
definitely-
yeah.
I don't know which part. Which part is it in?
I don't know.
Looking it
Isn't
up
that in
first.
BC?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's in BC. Isn't? Oh, it's in Nova Scotia.
Nova
Scotia.
Scotia.
So that-
Kind of the opposite
Nice.
direction.
That's
of
all the way
BC,
to the
my
east,
bad.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
nice.
I know
I
a
need to
little
study
bit
a
about
map
Canada.
more.
Not a lot bit, but
Shout out to you.
Daniel Gafford. That's right. I mean, yeah, Jonas Valanciunas is a real NBA player with real NBA size and physicality. But Daniel Gafford is more athletic, bigger, jumps higher. Should be fine going up against someone like that, even though and then when there's moments where it's Alex Sarr out there, or maybe Rashawn Holmes coming off the bench, that's where Gafford just has an overwhelming advantage. He's just clearly the bigger, stronger, more physical, better looking,
Wow.
better talking, smarter.
Gafford is a handsome man. What can I say?
Yeah, he's.
I feel like
he's-
you're going a little
he's-
deep than what you need to right now. But that's okay.
he's the more charismatic. He's just in every ways he's better than those two guys. So.
Daniel Gafford was in high school band, and I believe he's on record as I think he played Pokemon growing up.
Did I
think,
report
or There
that?
was something
I mean, I did report that. Was I the first person to report that?
about what?
Gafford being in high school band. Did you
I
talk
don't
about
know.
it?
I mean, he talked about it in numerous
I
places.
did a
but-
little story about him and PJ
Oh, nice.
last year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jonas Valanciunas does shoot threes. The Mavs over the years, even if he's making his first couple, they do not overreact to that. That is one possible way for this game to stay real close is if he goes like 5 of 7 from 3 or something. You're like, oh my God, do something. But they don't want to do anything. Keep him out there. Keep him away from the basket.
Yeah, keep him off the glass as well. If you're the Mavericks big men, which we'll touch on here in just a little bit. Coming up here on our DLLS Mavs pregame show, who's in, who's out, X factors for tonight's game, and our Mavericks player spotlight focusing on the Mavericks big men duo. But before we get there, Bobby's got to talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
Yeah, let's talk about my sleeper pick of the day. So far this year, I'm 2-2. Don't worry, Clay. I will be joining you on the yacht shortly. And after this dub tonight, so if you use promo code DLLS Mavs, then you can get a match up to $1,500 on a new account. Here's my pick of the game. So I'm taking Luka for less than 3.5 turnovers. The Wizards are a bottom 5 turnover forcing team. PJ Washington, I'm taking him for more than 9.5 assists plus rebounds. That dude's been big balling lately. Kyrie Irving, how about fresh haircut? Kyrie Irving looking sharp. I'm going to take him for at least 20 points. Jonas Valanciunas, I'm going to take him for 6 or more rebounds. And then Derek Lively. I think Derek Lively is going to score at least 2 points in the first quarter, so I'm taking him for more than 1.5 first quarter points. My multiplier is times 6.12 on that. So my little $5 play will net me $30 if I am able to win. So if you want to join me and Clay in Tahiti, well, hey, I got my captain's hat, and we got 2 extras. Come party with us.
Largest deposit match offer right now, up to $1,500 when it comes to Sleeper. So make sure you download the Sleeper app and be able to hang out and Bobby be able to win yourself some money with some pretty good picks there. So check out Sleeper.
Next stop, Bali. Where is Bali, by the way?
It's around Indonesia.
Okay, it looks awesome.
In Indonesia,
I would love to go there someday.
Bali. Yeah, it's in Indonesia.
That's the kind of energy you're getting right now, because that's the way we feel about the way the Mavericks are going to play against Washington tonight. They're going to take care of business so we can think about vacation and playing everything else.
No, play a lot of GeoGuessr in the second half.
But also, again,
that's why I know where Bali is.
I always have to say this.
GeoGuessr.
Take every NBA team seriously. Don't sleep on your opponent. I know Washington is not very good at all, but they are an NBA team, and you never know what can happen. So if you're the Mavericks, just handle your business and don't even worry about it. That way, we're not talking about a game like that Utah game.
Tanner,
because let's not.
Tanner, if PJ Washington has a huge game, can we title the title card PJ Washington?
Dude, I want to do it so bad.
That's so good, actually.
Yeah,
that's
but
really,
we need
really
him to play well.
That's really good. Actually.
He's got to have a good game. Like, his legacy is on the line. You know?
Bobby, you're doing a lot here.
No, it's important.
PJ
the
DC.
legacy
is on the line tonight.
Wait. DC Washington.
Oh,
I kind of like the other one you had before. The other one was better.
What? Just PJ Washington?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's a perfect play on the
our
whole
thumbnail text could just say just PJ Washington.
Well,
just PJ Washington.
Like, you gotta go for 20
okay, fine.
and 10
Is it just
tonight,
PJ Washington DC? That's probably it.
Okay,
that's
if PJ goes for a triple double,
PJ Washington Lizards.
That's the thumbnail title.
PJ Washington DC.
No, just PJ Washington. Just let it ride. Just let it be. You don't have to do any more.
I like this comment. Do not trade for James Butler. I love calling people that are named Jimmy James and vice versa. Like I call, when I'm talking about Jimmy Butler, I usually just call him Jim Butler.
Oh, Jim.
James Butler's is really fun. I do like that. So shout out.
Let's get to who's in and who's out for tonight's game as we look at the injury report. A lengthy one for the Washington Wizards. Unfortunately, we don't get the whole Kyle Kuzma thing because he's out with a rib injury. So shout out to his timeline. His says that he's out for tonight's game with the left rib injury. Patrick Baldwin Jr., he's out with right ankle soreness. Malcolm Brogdon is available and good to go. He is getting through some right knee soreness himself. Kaishan George, he is out with an ankle sprain. Corey Kispert, he's also out with the same left ankle sprain. And some guy named Tristan Vukcevic is out with a left knee contusion.
Interesting big, but very young.
Never heard of him.
How do you know about him? I don't know about him.
All the time.
That's a basketball sicko
for
you're talking
almost
about.
10 years, all I did during the day was think about basketball.
Yeah, but there's
to the point where you got to some dude named Tristan Vukcevic.
Yeah.
Several times on the show, a player has come up that I thought you would know, and you'd be like, I've never heard of that player. Maybe you might have just been playing it up.
I might have been playing it up, but I can say I know less about this year's rookie class than I have about any rookie class in my career.
I think it's a couple of rookies. So
yeah,
this Tristan fella, he's not a rookie?
I think he came out last season. I don't know.
Okay. While he's looking that up, let's look.
Yeah, I know so much about him.
Right, you're supposed to know everything about this guy, apparently.
Yeah, he played
Serbian
last
Swedish.
year. Yeah, he played last year.
How is he Serbian Swedish? What a combination.
What do you mean? People
Never
move.
heard of that dude. Meanwhile, for the Dallas Mavericks, Dante Exum remains out with his right wrist injury. Najee Marshall misses his second straight game due to illness, so he will not be available tonight. Let's get to our Mavericks player spotlight and focus in on the Mavericks big man duo when it comes to Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II and what they've done. Shut up! What are y'all doing over there? What is happening?
Kind of American.
You see what's happening here? I don't know what's happening.
I'm talking off mic. No one can hear what I'm saying.
They actually, you know, it's funny. You said that the other day with Mark Stein when you guys were talking. Heard you clear as day.
Darn it!
Clear as day.
If you could hear what I'm talking about, let me know.
Can you hear me right now? We're doing a test. Let me know. Let me know if this is coming through.
Tanner is so sick of us. He is sick of us already. That's all right, Tanner.
Trade Dante Exum?
Oh my gosh.
What are y'all doing in the comments?
Can
you calm down?
Dante is precious.
What
Yeah,
just
absolutely
happened
not.
here? How did we go
What are we
from
doing?
loving
I love
Dante Exum
Dante.
to trading him? What just happened there? We're doing a lot.
Dante is a sweet man and a pretty good player.
He's actually a really nice guy.
He's such a
like
nice
what are we
guy.
doing here? And good basketball player too. Let's
I like how we just all
we all got really upset. Like,
It's nothing personal, KJ. It's just I hate that comment. Just kidding. Just
Mark
kidding.
W, you're supposed to say you can't hear me. Just go with us.
Let's hear from Jason Kidd, actually, because the Mavericks big man duo is going to be on full display tonight, particularly when it comes to Derek Lively II. The sophomore sensation has been fantastic since coming back from his knee injury. Jason Kidd talking pregame about his impact since coming back from that knee injury.
Yeah, I think when you look at D-Live's, he was picking up some silly fouls or some ticky-tack fouls, and we've talked about it. We've showed it on film, and I think he's made a great adjustment with that. And then also just the injuries, like, Spence kind of taking his legs out in Utah and being out for that Portland game and then coming back and then blocking shots and I think landing on his shoulder. It just shows his toughness, his ability to give up his body to make a play there on the defensive end, and then his skill set, his athleticism of catching lobs, backwards. It just shows how talented this young man is.
And the big man duo for the Dallas Mavericks in the last 10 games, 9 of which each of them have played in, combined are averaging nearly 23 points per game, shooting 73% from the field, averaging nearly 15 rebounds and over 3 blocks per game and over 4 assists per game combined between the two of them. The big men duo should be able to feast quite a bit tonight against the Washington Wizards front court.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's this combination of the Wizards have a lot of young guards who are not particularly good defensively, and they're starting a rookie big man who projects as a really good defender, but he's young and inexperienced. And so, whenever that's the case, like, for example, I don't know how comfortable the Wizards will be switching Sar onto Luka in the pick and roll. So they might have to play drop. Well, that means you're giving up something. Or that might mean you start blitzing Luka, which means you're giving up something else. Like, the Wizards cannot just sit back and say, Mavs, hit me with your best shot. Let's see what you got. Because the Mavs will destroy them if they do that. And that's just Luka, let alone Kyrie, let alone, everything else that the Mavs, every other way the Mavs can beat them. And so I expect Luka and Kyrie to put Sar and then also Jonas in a position almost every time down the floor where they got to make a choice. And so I think the Mavs bigs are going to have very, very gaudy stat lines tonight. I think it could be like a 15 assists combined, Luka and Kyrie. Like, this could be a dunk highlight reel tonight.
It needs to be one of those Wilt Chamberlain combined Gafford and Lively outings.
Where they go for 45, 20, and like 8 blocks between the two of them. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's a Wilt Chamberlain stat line.
Even if it's just like, 35, 20, and 4. Still pretty good.
Yeah, so the Wizards this year allow 15.3 second chance points per game, which is second most in the league. So it's like second worst in the league. They allow 51.5 points in the paint per game, which is 6th worst in the league. That's even more than the Mavs allow. And the Mavs have allowed 76 points in the paint in 2 games this season. And the Wizards are worse than them in that regard. So, dude, just, again, play hard. But I'm glad J. Kidd made the point of mentioning Lively's picked up a lot of really, he called them ticky-tack or cheap fouls,
Silly
fouls,
yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Like, don't commit cheap fouls. Whenever you are out there, and this is true of Gafford as well, but especially of Lively, when you're out there, the Mavs are an elite basketball team. So, like, you want to win, right? Like, you want to be elite, don't you?
Yeah, we want to be elites. I mean, stay on the floor if you're Derek Lively and the Mavericks big men. That gets us to our X factors for tonight's game. A few want to focus in on. We've kind of touched on one just a little bit when it comes to Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively being big and being strong. Tall man, put ball in basket, rebound, and do all the big man stuff. Yeah, exactly. Do all that stuff, and you should be able to win tonight's game. Meanwhile, doing the little things, the Mavericks, of course, committed what was 25 turnovers and missed 14 free throws in the game against the Memphis Grizzlies. Still was able to overcome it and win, but at the same time, they were able to still get the win. And apparently, I'll need to check here because it was initially ruled that Kyle Kuzma was going to be out for tonight's game, but is somebody saying that Kyle Kuzma is in all of a sudden? No? Oh, okay. That's a good call. Okay, because I was like, Kuzma probably. I was like, what is going on here? No, he's not playing. Kuzma's out. By the way, but yeah, you got to overcome and do the little things tonight. You can't miss free throws. You can't turn the ball over. You got to protect the ball, and you should be able to win this game as well. Also, get off to a fast start tonight. The Dallas Mavericks, what we were discussing for them throughout the course of the early portion of the year, is a team that didn't get off to good starts. They have turned that around, especially over their last 10 games. In their last 10 games, gentlemen, the Mavericks are outscoring their opponents by an average of 3.5 points per first quarter, averaging over 31 points in each first quarter in their last 10 games. So they're getting off to faster starts and putting up real points on the board as well against their opponents.
Start hot, take control.
Yeah.
Exert dominance, assert dominance, be dominant.
This isn't like totally irrelevant, but when, since the moment Washington traded Gafford to Dallas, the Wizards have won 8 games.
Say that again? Wait, what?
Yeah, since last February, they've won 8 games.
That's
and
just 8 games?
to give you an idea
That's like 60-ish?
No. So
No, not quite that.
to give you an
Not quite that,
idea,
not quite that.
PJ Washington has missed 2 games as a Mav. Just in the regular season games that he has played, and he debuted the same day Gafford did.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavs are 34-12 in those games.
Woo!
And he's missed 2, so that's 48 games. And the Wizards have roughly played about that many games too. So they are playing at a very, very low level since that trade.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. They are trying to get the number 1 pick. Like that's where they are. There's a handful of teams that are not trying to necessarily win games. This is very much a development team at this point when it comes to Washington, and they are doing everything they can within the rules to not necessarily
Can I
win
say
games.
something though about that?
Yeah.
I think that teams should be able to do whatever they want, right? Like, if you want to suck, do it. Mavs, if you want to bench your guys to keep your pick, do it. It's the correct thing to do. But, like, what the Wizards are doing, and this could come back to bite me if the Mavs lose this game, it's disgraceful. They are so uncompetitive. They are a horrible, horrible basketball team with no direction. They have Sarr, he was the number 2 pick in the draft or whatever, so he's potentially going to be pretty good. They have like no other interesting young players of note. Bub Carrington, who knows, maybe. Bilal Coulibaly,
He's kind of interesting. Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's the list.
I guess the only thing I'd say in their defense is that they had a really bad season, as you would do, and then it just happened to correspond with the worst draft we've had in quite some time. And so they
they were bad for a long time before that.
They were bad. They changed front offices, and the front office kind of like remade the direction of badness that they were headed in. Again, I'm not really defending them. This is a pretty atrocious basketball team, but
they're not going to be good for such a long time.
Usually a number 2 pick in a lot of drafts would be having more impact than someone like Alex Sarr, which is not to say that Alex Sarr isn't going to be a good player. He's shown some stuff defensively, but it's just, he's not having anywhere near the impact of like a top three pick due to the circumstances of the draft.
Bigs take a while to develop. They do. I mean, some do. I mean, last year's class of bigs was just unbelievable. I mean, Wemby and Chet, if you consider him to be, and Lively and those, like, they're just once in a lifetime big man class. They're so bad. They're so far away from being good. They have a bunch of 30-year-olds and then they have a bunch of 19-year-olds. Nothing in between. other than Jordan Poole. Like, they're a horrible, horrible team. I just think it is truly bewildering. It is mind-numbingly stupid that the Mavs were fined for what they did, and yet teams like the Wizards can trot out rosters like this for years at a time. Like, it's a disgrace.
They're just doing it quietly. They're pretty loudly awful.
They're on pace to be the worst team ever.
Yeah,
like, they are worse than the Warriors with that 173 games were good. Like, that's how terrible they are. They are historically atrocious. It is a shame. It's a crime against humanity.
Or basketball. But that means the Mavericks should beat the absolute brakes off the Wizards tonight. If not, we are going to be really pissed off. Just going to tell you that right now. But we will be back regardless 15 minutes after the game is over with on our DLLS Mavs
maybe 5
minutes.
Show.
Myself, Kato, and Bobby Corella here on DLLS Mavs. We really appreciate you joining us here on our pregame show. Tip off right now as the Mavericks take on the Washington Wizards. You can watch it on KFAA channel 29.
Stay healthy.
Tonight's game.
We'll
talk
healthy.
to you after the game here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.